And the Providence Journal that did their investigation, their due diligence, and they found that to be a true statement, which was printed in the paper last Sunday, in the Truth Anita. So I was surprised myself, but they did the right thing. Getting back to this this executive order by the governor. The agreement between the local cities and towns allows for trained, when I say trained police officers, they've been trained already by the federal government. There's stipulations in the bill that would make sure that people aren't discriminated against during these background investigations. The police, it's for people that have strictly been arrested or incarcerated. So they're not going out and picking people off the streets and going to picnics and saying, geez, you look one way or another and we're going to check your background out. That's not what this is about. This is about working cooperatively with the federal government in a means to help curb the illegal immigrants in the state of Rhode Island. And that's basically what it does. In addition to the police officers, it also goes into the parole board. So when someone comes up for parole, if they're here illegally, they will be sent back. They'll be deported. If in fact someone's been assigned to the adult correctional institutions, they'll have trained correctional officers as well how to handle this, and they will also check the backgrounds of the inmates. So it's nothing that goes out of line where I don't understand why the governor would overturn this, the existing governor, because it merely protects us from illegal aliens that they could actually be terrorists. I mean, the terrorists came in, they overstayed their visas, and there was never any background checking. So this was done as a way to actually combat the people that may perform terrorist acts in the country. And again, it's working cooperatively with the federal government. So it's nothing that the state, we cannot, there's provisions in this bill that state that we cannot act unilaterally, we cannot work on it when we can't come up with our own rules, that it has to be approved by ICE. So really, I don't understand why we wouldn't want to protect ourselves and help. Here's the situation. I've never said that I want to put all the illegal aliens on a bus or a plane or whatever and send them back to their own country. I've always stated that if we stop with the incentives that we're allowing in this state, then they will self-deport. When this bill went in, and or the governor's executive order went in, rather, there was a decrease in the number of people that enrolled in the urban communities, the schools. There was a decrease. I think there was a 1,400. Terry Gorham has the numbers backed up, but there was 1,400 less people that signed up for schools in Providence, and I believe there was 400 or so in Central Falls. So there is something to be said about the self-deported. No one picked anyone up and sent anyone back to their own country. No one did that. But they realized on their own, geez, Rhode Island's checking. Maybe it's not the state to go and come from. If I get across the border, I'm not going to go to Rhode Island anymore. But right now, it's a fact that they have the coyotes that are on the border that tell them where to go. And Rhode Island, a friend of mine, was working the border as part of the National Guard troops, and he picked up a piece of paper from someone that they had captured coming over the border, and they had Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island, come to Providence, Rhode Island, because they'll take care of you there. That's where you go. So it wasn't alone. There were other cities and towns, but we were in the top 10 on that sheet. So to think that they're coming across the border and not coming here, that's not true. They are, and they're here. And the government says it's between 20 and 40,000 people. If we weren't in the financial situation we're in right now, I probably wouldn't be putting this in. We're in a situation where we have a deficit. We're cutting the Department of Disabilities. We cut them by $23 or $24 million last year. The money has to come from somewhere. we will be able to focus on the immigrants that are coming over legally. Right now, if I were to come across the border and look at what has to be done to become a legal immigrant, spending all that money and taking all that time, I don't know if I would do it. Because it's so easy if you're not checking, it's a slap in the face to the people that come across the border and do it the right way. It's a slap to all the people that are, you know, we're all immigrants here. You know, my grandfather came up. To follow the law, there are reasons those laws are in place. We can't afford it right now. I use the scenario of a life raft that Rhode Island, you know, a life raft, it fits 50 people, but we're putting 3,000 people on that life raft. When that life raft sinks, everybody goes. We're in a tough financial situation here in the state of Rhode Island, our whole country is. We need to do something to address this issue because of the monetary problem that exists. A friend of mine is married to a Colombian. She's Colombian. She's here on a visa, and now she's a citizen because she's married. She wanted to bring her mother and father over to visit her because they just had a baby, and she was having problems getting them a visa. So when they found out what the problem was, she was surprised, and they actually called me to tell me what the situation was. There were so many people that came over and stayed on expired visas that they didn't have any visas to give out, so her mother and father couldn't come to the country to see the baby. It's hurting this doesn't just hurt people that are citizens, but the people that are trying to become citizens in the state as well. So I ask you to please look at these bills. I will be asking for a vote, Madam Chair. I understand, and I've told people that are here today, don't get nervous because we hold things for further study. I said, most bills get held for further study.
All bills.
Right. So I'm going to be asking for a vote, and I think if you look at the amount of people in the state, the percentage, it's always in the 80 percentile that want us to do something. I think they deserve at least a vote on this. So at that, I'll open up to questions, Madam Chair.
I have a question. You said